Welcome, everybody. My name is Shervin. This is my very first podcast episode. What we are going to talk about, what I'm going to talk about, is an initial information about me, who I am, and my story, what I have experienced in the last 1 to 2 years, and what is the message that I am going to spread, or let's say my story is going to spread. So let's dive into it. As I said, my name is Shervin. I have left my comfort zone, my father and my mother, at the age of 18. I have become independent, fully independent at the age of 19. And I started my very first business at the age of 19, almost 20. And I am currently 20. So let's talk about it more. Well, let's start from the beginning. Let's flash back to 2 years ago. I was 18 years old and I had zero real life experience. I was skinny, I was lazy, I did not want to do the work, and I wanted the results. But there was one thing common between who I am today and who I used to be, and that is my belief. Let's not say my belief. Let's call it belief. I always believed in myself. I always believed that I am a great person. I have to get something big done in this world. I don't want to be Mr. Nobody. That was the belief that I had ever since I remember. Literally, when I was 13, I always knew that I am going to become somebody, but I didn't know how. And that is what makes it more interesting for me, because I don't know how. Only God knows how. Anyway, I was 18 years old and I had zero life experience. And I've worked, but my job, was not paying me so much. And the reason that I was satisfied by that was that I was focused on business. I was focused on music. So for those of you who don't know, I have experience in the music industry. I was a rapper at first, and then I switched to rap metal. And you see who I was, right? You should have the imaginary picture. It's a skinny boy with long hair. Anyway. And I wanted to share a good message. Or let's say, I didn't want to share a good message. The reason that I was into music and I produced music was something in me, or let's say a message, mainly negative. I wanted to express my feelings. And what I believe right now is expressing feeling is not good. I don't say it's not good, mainly, but expressing your feelings should be controlled. Because if it is not controlled, or if it is not gone through a filter that, imagine it's an anger, right? When you're angry, you should control it. So should be other feelings. They should be controlled, especially if you are a man. Well, let's get back to it. Let's not distract. At the age of 18, I had this opportunity to leave my comfort zone. What was my comfort zone? It was my father's house. My mom cooked for me, and all I did was consuming and not doing shit. Sorry for my bad language. And I wanted everything to be good, without any efforts. I was surrounded by wrong people, and I was literally poor in all ways. Neither did I have money, neither did I have a good mentality. So I had to change, but I had one thing, and that was the belief that I had in God. I understood that it is impossible if God doesn't exist, because everyone around me was saying, "Oh, God doesn't exist," and it was impossible for me to believe that. I was like, "This is so bad. This is so ugly. God should exist. God must exist. I don't understand this." And I had one opportunity to jump out of my comfort zone. So I sprung out of the comfort zone. How? Let's go through that. My aunt and her husband, they have sent me an invitation to to Canada, for those of you who don't know, coming to Canada from Iran, a third world country, is a dream. It's a huge dream. And I had that visa because my aunt and her husband, they sent me an invitation. This was like a dream for me. I was like, wow, I have a Canadian visa. I can go there. And I don't know why they did that. I literally don't know why. Because they are kind. I guess that's the only reason. Because they are kind. And the only reason that I can possibly imagine, is that they are kind. There's no other way. I'm at that point. So I have this Canadian visa, and I have this opportunity to come to Canada. It was my decision that, am I going to quit? Because I don't think that is possible. From Iran to Canada, I was, why? If I go there, everything is good. That was what it was in my mind. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Canada, and I'm going to leave like I want, being lazy and not doing anything. this is sort of stupid, isn't it? But this is what I had in my mind. I had this in my mind that I am going to live an easy life in Canada because I was lazy. That's why I decided to jump out of my comfort zone. Because I was seeking the comfort and I was wrong. But in fact, at first that I went to Canada, I was still supported. You know, I left my father and my mother. Let me say this before I go through the path that after I immigrated to Canada. I did not have an easy life, okay? I was not a rich boy. I've never been. In fact, in Iran, I lived in a very poor neighborhood. And the pressure was not on me, because the pressure was on my father and my mother both. They both worked hard to provide a good life for us, for me and my sister. And the pressure was on them. That's why I was so emotional, because I was seeing the hardship, but I was not doing anything for it. And I was expressing my feelings through producing songs. And my father and my mother were working hard to provide the life. So this was the situation. And then I decided to leave there, and I was 18, so I could do it. But I asked my father and my mother. They told me that if you go, you have to work hard. My father especially, we had a conversation. He told me that you cannot be helped. It's you. And I still thought that, oh, it's easy, let's do it. that's very like interesting to me. The reason that I have become who I am today was that I was lazy. And this is all God's work. Anyway, I came to Canada at, I guess it was 2021. Yeah, it was 2021, 2 years ago. And I still was supported by my aunt and her husband. Imagine, my aunt and her husband, they have no duty. They are just kind. And they sent me an invitation. Plus, a bonus supporting me for almost a year. And I say this now, and I keep saying this till the future, that what if they didn't do that to me, that favor to me, which is sending me an invitation and supporting me for the first year, I would be fucked. I would have been fucked, literally. I would have been a homeless, literally. I'm serious. Because I had no money, no support, nothing. So, if you're listening to this, Ants, and Mina, I love you. And, I mean, we talk. And also, I'm Batman. We love you. I love you. Thank you. So, they have helped me and supported me for a year. But after a year, I still was not who I am today. I was lazy. I did work every single day. Not every single day. Like, let's say 6 days a week. I worked my ass off. And I started to switch from a lazy person to someone who at least works. But I was like, this work is like, this is not making me money. I mean, I did not pay any rent. So for the first year, I just saved money, but I was not making that much money. And I was like, what the fuck? This is not easy. I was like, this is not easy. And I don't want to go back Iran. That's bullshit. This is fucked up there. I was like, this is not easy. What the fuck? And I still didn't have any idea in my mind how can I change it, but I was like, I know what I'm gonna do. I have to become hard. I have to become strong. I have to become powerful. And I decided to do something. I decided to leave my comfort zone again. When I was in Iran, my comfort zone was my father's house. When I was in Canada at first, my comfort zone was my aunt's and her husband's house. So I had to leave the comfort to become hard, to become strong. Because you cannot become hard in a soft environment. So that was the point. I did not tell them that I want to become hard and I want to leave the comfort zone you're providing me. Of course, they wouldn't have let me to do that because, they have immigrated like a long time ago. They would say, no, don't do this because they are kind. But that is not going to help me. That was not going to help me. I had to leave my comfort. So that was the time I was like, okay, I have to go and become independent. So it was almost a year. I experienced a lot of things. I worked 2 to 3 different jobs. Like I worked in construction. That wasn't in construction. It was a renovation. I worked as a helper. I worked in a restaurant. I worked moving and like some other jobs. I literally don't remember all of them, but I worked. And that was my very first experience of working hard. Like as someone who didn't have any experience. I was a soft boy before that. Had to like work, right? So I had some money, a little bit money, nothing a lot. I don't even remember the amount, but it was literally nothing. That was not enough to live forever. That was enough for 1 month, 2 months. 2 months, 3 months. That was all my money. And then I decided to go to Vancouver. I don't know why I decided to go to Vancouver, but I just wanted to go somewhere far away from everybody to experience a hard life, to become hard. That was in my mind. So I came to Vancouver and everything started from absolutely zero, from scratch. A soft boy, not much experience yet, and I did not know what is going to happen to me. I only wanted to become hard. So after I came to Vancouver, I sort of had somewhere to stay for the first 2 weeks. My second cousin were here. She let me, her boyfriend had the place. They let me stay with them and thank them again. Thank you if you're watching this. So they let me stay with them for almost 2 weeks. And then I kept, looking to find a place. I found a place after 2 weeks and I become fully independent. I moved in a house shared with almost 8 people. I rented 1 room and bathroom shared, washroom shared, shower shared, and I did not like it. That's not good. And after 2 to 3 months, I noticed that there's a rat this big living in the same house. Bro, that was a fucking horrible. That was very bad. Like people were filthy. They had zero self-control and no purpose. And dirty. I didn't like it. And I noticed that I have to change in order to change my life. And I noticed, okay, the reason that I am living here is my fault. This is my fault. Because I do believe that I have to be logical if I want to be successful. So if I'm living here What have I done before that I'm here? Yeah, I did this, that, that. In the long term, that I looked at it, I was like, okay, this is a growth. Because in the long term, I was in Iran and I'm in Canada. So it's growth. But the story just began. I had to change everything. I am not the one who's satisfied with that. I cannot be satisfied with a shitty life. I cannot be satisfied with not having a car. I cannot be satisfied with not having money. And I do not bow down to money, fuck money. But the freedom that it gives you, that's what I want. So I had to change everything. But in order to change everything, I had to change myself. So I looked at my life. Okay, what am I doing wrong? I found one thing that I had to change, that I had to reach, and that was discipline. Why discipline? I was emotional, as I said. I wanted to express my emotions. But I noticed that nobody gives a fuck about me. I'm a boy, and nobody gives a shit about me. That's what I noticed. And I become furious because I noticed that nobody gives a fuck about me. I have to give a fuck about me. And no one cares. Nobody cares. If you're a boy and watching this, you're 15 and living in your fucking parents, you should know this, that nobody gives a fuck about you. Nobody gives a shit. I say that over time. So I had to become a man. I could not stay a boy and be in charge of my life. Well, I decided to start my own business. I had no job. So, I've worked in a place after I came to Vancouver. I found a job. It was in a pizza place, but I got fired after 2 weeks for some reason. I don't know why. She said that I don't need you anymore, with no reason, but I had to accept that because I don't say the reason. Anyway, so I got fired, and I had a little bit of money, a little bit of saving, and I had to change, right? So I not have job, I smoked cigarette, and I drank beer, and I was not sober. So the first thing I noticed that I have to change is that, okay, I have to become sober and be sober and understand what the pain actually is. So I stopped drinking and I stopped smoking. And I started to go to the gym. So I started to understanding what the pain is. And after 1 month, I decided to do something crazy. I closed my saving accounts on my bank and took the money out, which was $500. I guess nothing, right? And because I had to eat food, I did not have food to eat. After a few months, I had to pay a lawyer to do my immigration stuff, and I had to pay my rent. So all my money gone. Imagine 1 year working hard was gone. Nothing. I was like, what the fuck? I've worked hard. Why I'm broke? Right? And I took that money out after, so I fully paid my lawyer, but I still have to pay the rent. So I went and I applied for help from the government, and they paid me a little bit of money, and it was enough only to pay my rent. So I could not buy anything to eat. That's why I was very weak. I did not have any food to eat at that time. So my rent was covered by the government. The food, I had $500 savings, and I took that out because it was a time that I did not have any food to eat. I was okay, I have to buy something. So I took $500 out, and I divided into two parts. So I invested one into starting a business, and $250 just to buy food for, I don't know, for 2 months. Yeah, I was like, okay, this 250 is for 2 months, 2 to 3 months buying food. So I started a business. I was like, okay, how can I make money? What is money? Understood money is bullshit. Bullshit. And so, okay, how can I make money with nothing? I don't want to do stupid things. I don't want to go and have an OnlyFans agency. I don't want to do any of this because there's something in my mind that doesn't let me to do that. I don't know. I do believe that God is watching me and he has a long-term plan. He's seeing the future. I can't see the future and I don't want to do stupid things to ruin the future because when God is with you, your future is different than he's not with you. So I do believe that he's with me and he's watching me and he's testing me by letting me observing the temptation. What is the tolerance that I have against temptation? Am I tempted or not? Because temptation is not from God. But you being able to decide whether you want temptation or not is a test from God. That's my personal belief. So I do believe that I do not want to have an OnlyFans fucking agency or doing stupid shits, anything in fucking sexual business model. I don't want any of this stuff. What is the thing that I can do? I noticed that I have to have a skill and using that skill to make a better result for businesses. That was the cheapest thing I could do. So I had to learn something from YouTube. But YouTube is a various space to learn stuff and you could be distracted. I was like, fuck, what can I do? And I noticed the Real World, which is a platform that you can go and sign up monthly, very cheap, $49, or in Canadian dollars, it's going to be $70 to learn skills to make money. It's Andrew Tate's platform that it teaches you how to make money. And I was like, okay, I have $250. All of this $250 is going to be paid in that. So I went through that. And I made money in the first week. How? In the Facebook. And I went and found stuff for free and sold them for something. And I had some money and I put that money into, the Real World. So I could not, my rent was covered already, but I did not have enough money. But I had to go and find a job because I did not want to certainly do that as I didn't have any, car to do that. That was wasting a lot of time. So I decided to sort of go and find a job. So I found another job and I kept learning and I started like reaching out to people. I sort of had copywriting skills after 2 months, 3 months. I learned all of it, everything that I could. And I started to reaching out people to help them, reaching out businesses to help them. So in sum, I don't want to be boring in this part, but after 6 months, I landed 1 client. And after 1 month, I landed 3 clients. And at that point, which is very close to where I am now, it's like sort of, I don't know, 1 month ago, let's say. Yeah, I landed 3 clients. And at that time, I was like, okay, right now, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to work hard on these projects that I have to bring good results for them and then be in charge of it and reach out to more people because I already have a testimonial. That's going to help me a lot. So this was the business aspect. So I'm currently focused on my business. I want to do this and I want to hire someone else to do this for me and I be in charge of getting projects and manage everything and get the profit from this business and put it into the other business. And I want to quit this job and be fully focused on my businesses and grow. So this was the business aspect. So what I mainly want to talk about is my message, which is there is always a better version ahead. As I said, I was lazy and I did not want to grow. And right now, I'm not. All I'm doing is work. I'm either working or I'm asleep. And I do believe that in the next few years, I'm going to be a bad motherfucker. I'm telling you, I am that character. I built that character first. And who I am today, that character is a better version than who I used to be. So I'm looking at my life, like every single day I'm getting better. I'm doing things that are leading me to be a better version. So I came up with this, that this is my message. There is always a better version ahead. There is always something that you haven't done. How can you possibly stop? How can you stop? Stop means quitting. And I was I remember that I was depressed and I always complained. I was rapping, right? So I produced music and all I did in the music was just complaining about everything. And oh, why we human doing this? Whoa, 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 whoa. And none of them would help anything. Neither me nor anyone else. And I noticed that I'm doing definitely something wrong. Because complaining does not change anything. Certainly, I have to do something about my life. I have to change me. I have to change my life. And then, after I change my life, I will be able to change others. And in fact, I do believe that I cannot change anyone's life. Everyone has to change their lives. At least my story can inspire some people to change their lives, to start. Because I do believe that where I am today, which is not where I want to be, but where I am today is only because I started and I never quit. And I'm like, okay, I'm better now. How can I quit? Because I see the future. How can I quit here? When you quit, that means that you never started. Imagine you're halfway. Imagine you have gone 70% of the path and you quit. It's like you never fucking started. That's what cowards do. So, I do believe in this message. I do believe that this is the truth. That there's always a better version ahead, and you have to do it. And I mainly want to talk to youths. Let's say my audience is going to be between 15 to 20. Why? Because first of all, I am 20. I'm not older. For example, someone who's 18 start giving me advice. I'm like, fuck off. You're 2 years younger than me. What do you know? I have more experience. So I do believe that I am not eligible to give advice to someone who's 30 because they have more experience than me. And they'd be like, fuck off, you're a kid. And they're right. Right? So my audience is between 15 to 20. And of course, I'm open if you're older than me to tell me where I'm wrong. So I'm literally open to that. Imagine like you're 30 something and I'm having a message to share. You can come to me and say I'm wrong. You can come to me and say I'm wrong. But I am trying to spread my message, which is there is always a better version ahead, to the younger generation and let's say the Generation Z, including me. Because our generation is fucked. We are too lazy. I used to be like them and I'm not anymore. And they can become better. That's what I do every day. I wake up and I say, what can I do to become better? I want to become a better person. There's another thing I want to share before I end this podcast is that I speak English as my second language. I want you to understand. Speaking English as your second language fluently is not easy. So, if you come to me and say, "Oh, you stuttered there," I'm like, "Fuck you. How many languages do you speak? What color is your language?" Anyway, I just want to let you know that I have no pity for someone who comes to me and says, "Oh, you stutter in English," because it is my it is my second language. And of course, I try to get better every day in English. And that another thing that I say. I am way better in speaking English than I used to be 2 years ago. You can go and subscribe my YouTube channel. I shared a documentary about how I went through all of this stuff, and there I shared that how I used to talk English and how I speak English today. I'm way fucking better because I believe that everything that you put effort and time into it and like do your best and do it consistently, you can get better in it. Anything. I believe in that. So yeah, this is my message. There's always a better version ahead. And I keep, remain spreading this message, and until my message changes. I don't say that this is going to be my message till infinity, because another experience that I gained in the last 2 years was that nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. You can change. Everything can change. I can change. I might change. I don't say that I'm going to be the same person in the next 2 years. I don't think so. So, thank you so much for watching this. It might have been a little bit, boring. This is my first podcast. Congrats for those of you who watched till now. I guess only one person would watch this podcast till now, because it could be boring. This is my first podcast, but as I said, I believe that if you put effort and time into anything and do it consistently, you can get better at it. So I keep scheduling and sharing podcasts to get better at it and spread my message. I am also active on YouTube, Instagram, almost all social media platforms. So you can go, and my ID is shervinef. You can go. I also share the social links in this description. So subscribe me if you do believe in my message, which is there's always a better version ahead. Subscribe me, follow me, and as I said again, I am trying to lead the younger generation, because I do not see myself eligible to give advice to someone who's older than me, because that's just dumb. If someone younger than me comes to me and try to give me advice, I say fuck off. You're younger, you don't know shit. I have more experience. And I am very open to people who are older than me to come to me and say you are wrong about this. I'm open because I do believe that I do not have enough experience yet. And I'm young, I'm 20. But this is my message. There is always a better version ahead. So if you're between 15, 20, or if you're young, if you're a youth, just it's getting late. Okay, get up soon and join me. Join me to wake more people up. Thanks for watching this podcast, and always a pleasure, Shervin.